In Jane Eyre, wealth acts as an inherent source of good and evil, with the main character experiencing approval and support, as well as beating and shaming as a result of society's beliefs surrounding money. This was first shown in the story while Jane resided with her extended family at Gateshead. When Jane was at the Reed family home, she constantly felt a sense of loneliness and neglect. While modern expectations dictate that a household and family should be forms of safety and care, Jane felt nothing of the sort. Children of proper families, families that held a certain amount of wealth or influence, were expected to behave perfectly. In fact, traces of this are still seen today. For the entirety of the duration spent with the Reed family, they incessantly reminded her that she was a dependent and an orphan, and that they were doing her a great service by taking her in. Although Jane was scorned and pushed away due to the arrogance that came along with the Reed's affluence, she was able to find some happiness as a result. At Lowood, a school for orphans that only existed due to the generosity of wealthy benefactors, Jane was finally able to make her first friend. This demonstrates how good and evil can both come as a result of how the wealthy choose to behave.
The wealth divide between the Reed family and Jane set them apart from each other, which goes along with the interpretation that society first sees the monetary stratification of people rather than the actual person themselves. In chapter 14, when Mr. Rochester met Jane as a gypsy without her knowledge, this brought in a symbolic representation of the separation of classes that were present in the Victorian era. Mr. Rochester dressed up as a woman and a gypsy, bringing himself down from his own wealthy, higher class so that he and Jane could speak freely. Gypsies are often a symbol of liberation and excitement, something that the women in the Victoria era didn't have rights to, as they were supposed to be pure, domestic creatures living to serve their master. This again comments on the limitations that society placed on wealth classes and the social stratification of men and women, highlighting the strict social hierarchy of the Victorian era. Liberation, freedom, and passion were highly undesirable in women during this time. This was symbolized in the story by the character Bertha. While she was mad as she longed for freedom and love, but was condemned for passionate acts and kept hidden and locked away instead of being helped. This was similar to when Jane thought she would be included in the Reed family if she took on a more level and controlled personality rather than being her true self.
Later in the story, Jane asked for food from one of her family that only fed her after seeing that her pigs were hungry, placing beggars on the lower strata than farm animals. In addition, when Jane says that she likes Mr. Rochester, the first person that she tells, Mrs. Fairfax, tells her that this is inadvisable by the conditions set by society, their age gap, and their difference in wealth and social status. Even though by today's standards, society has fewer social classifications, today's society still has wealth classifications and prejudices against those in different wealth classes. Bronte uses secondary characters to act as the world outside of the main characters to bring in society into Jane's bubble in which the story takes place.
Before we get into the creative component of our presentation, I want to give a little bit of context on how our creative component will relate to the plot and theme of Jane Eyre. So the main themes that we saw within our coming-of-age story were fear of not fitting into societal molds, the freedom that independence will bring once you separate yourself from what others want for you and from you, and the necessity of self-preservation in finding a life of happiness and fulfillment. So fear of not fitting into the mold is first shown when Jane is living with the Reed family, her extended family. They don't really like Jane. She doesn't fit into what they think a proper child should be. She's kind of loud. She has lots of opinions. She's very scholarly, and they don't really like any of this because that's not what they think a little girl should be. And she tries to change parts of her personality to appease them, and she's kind of afraid of what they'll say about her just in general at all times, but they never really like her, and she gets tired of this. And the creative component that's shown by the mom and Piers bullying her, which you'll see in following minutes. And then because of this, she transitions into an independent life of her own, and the story that is shown as her going to Lowood, the school where she'll gain her own education, and with her own creative component, it is shown within her getting a job. And these both lead to a sense of freedom within her life because she's able to make her own choices, not really living on anyone else's timeline and expectations except her own. And then the self-preservation of working towards her goal and just kind of fending for herself really comes to fruition in both as she's able to get a job in the novel and as she is able in her creative component to make it to the school of her dreams.
Jane, what are you doing again? You need to stop this habit of reading. Literally, it's doing you so much more harm than good, okay? Like, come on. You could be doing those chores that I have laid out for the rest of the week right now. You are literally so useless. I don't even know why we keep you around here. You're so ungrateful, and you don't give us any gratefulness for giving us food from our table onto your plate. Literally stay away from me and my family. You're such a bad influence.
I hate her. She's so annoying. Like, she's so ungrateful for all they do around here. I try to have some free time, and it's like, no, work, work, work. Her kids don't even do nothing. They just sit around all day while I'm here like a slave working. It's like hell. I hate it here.
Jane, wake up, hurry up, come on. It's time for school, you're already late.
What time is it?
You overslept, that's all that matters. You're so worthless and irresponsible.
I guess I'll just wear those. I look so ugly.
Jane, you're late. Lunch is halfway over. What's up? Why do you look like that?
I overslept, and I know, like, I'm wearing like my PJs and stuff. It's like awful. I look actually disgusting. But like my stepmother was like yelling at me, calling me like worthless and irresponsible for sleeping in. Like that's a normal thing. Like whatever. But now I have like class with a tray. I'm about to wear like PJs. Watch them like one of them like beat me up.
I think they probably will. Jane, you have drool on your shirt. My brother has some old clothes or something in his locker. Here, let's go get you cleaned up. You need some help.
Thanks. Lunch is almost over, so let's go now.
Okay, let's go.
Ding ding ding. Crap. April, Claire, and Erin are all in this class. They're the meanest girls in the whole school, and they love picking on me. Claire's the one who just goes along with the group. April's the pretty one, and all the dudes drool over her. And then there's Erin, who's the leader of the group, and she's the brains.
Oh my gosh, guys, literally, why did Jane even turn up to school today? She looks so disgusting. Like, can you even imagine? Like, why would she do that to herself? Like, seriously. Jane, you look so hideous. Why would you even show up to school if you look like that? You in my presence is bringing down my prettiness. You literally look like you crawled out of a drain. Yeah, Jane, you look so ugly. Like, ugh. Guys, let's just leave Jane alone, come on. No, I want to beat up Jane. Come on, guys.
Ouch, that really hurt. They're so mean. I just want to like go home and just like run away. Finally, I'm home. I'm getting out of this hellhole. Let's pack my stuff. All right, I'm out. That was such a hard shift. I'm so tired, but oh my god, it's decision day. Let's see if I got in. Oh my god, I got into Harvard with a full scholarship. Let me go tell someone. I don't know what to tell. But it's okay. I know I was born to strive and endure, and I care for myself, and while there may be a guy in the future, I'll be there for myself. That's why I worked hard and got a full ride at Harvard.